Strange Shadows, a Carcash and Smith podcast.
Better get that pea shooter ready, warned Markley through the audiophone from his seat at the controls of the rocket plane. At this rate, we'll come within range in a few minutes. Those Japanese are good gunners, and they'll have a red-hot welcome for us. Clement Morris, Secret Service operative and college chum of Andrew Markley, his pilot in a swift and dangerous chase, inspected the cartridge belt of the new and incredibly rapid-firing gun, behind which he sat in lieu of the official gunner. Then he resumed his watching of the bright metallic speck that they followed in the thin, dark, stirless air of the stratosphere, 12 miles above the eastward flowing blur that was Nevada. They were beginning to overhaul the Japanese plane that had picked up the fleeing spy, Isho Sakamoto, near Ogden. Morris had been tracking down this preternaturally clever spy for months. Sakamoto was believed to have procured plans of many American fortifications, as well as information regarding projected army movements in the war against the Sino-Japanese Federation that had begun a year ago in 1975.
Greetings, friends, and welcome to Season 4, Episode 8 of Strange Shadows, the Clark Ashton Smith podcast. The voice you just heard was Shelley Cruz, reading the opening from today's story, The Dimension of Chance. I'm one of your hosts, Rob Poynton.
And I'm the other one, Tim Mendes. Yes, we're back into full-on scientifiction territory this week. I think it's a novelette, this, isn't it?
It is quite a length, isn't it, this one? Which is something we're going to bring up later on. However, before we delve into the dimension of chance, I just wanted to remind you that the Innsmouth forum is now up and running. We've got some new members joined this week. Thanks very much. And we've got some nice threads going across all the boards. Basically, any aspects of weird fiction that you can think about, you can come on there and have a chat. If you've got any recommendations for books, films, video games, anything like that, then please do join in. It will be good to see you there.
Yeah, I need to actually do it. I'm so busy with things at the moment. I've not had a chance to actually delve into that properly. But last time I had a quick look, it was all taking off quite nicely. So, yeah.
Yeah, we've got some of the old regular faces on there, which is good to see. And I just find it so easier to chat on that format than Discord or any of these other things, as we mentioned.
Yeah.
Being the age I am now.
Yep, and I'd just like to remind people of the Clark Ashton Smith Convention, which is happening in Auburn, California, on the 10th of January, early next year. And it's been put together by a friend of the show, Niels Hedgelin, our Auburn correspondent. It's a full day of there's guests and readings, and I believe there's rocks there and things like that as well.
Yes, there's going to be a display of various types of artwork, and I think Niels has gathered together a collection. Check out the link and you'll see everything that's happening.
Superb. Yeah, and a multitude of guests, some quite good names there. My favourite has to be Skinner. Anybody who's watched the Emperor of Dreams documentary will know Skinner. The man's a hero. And his work is apparently incredibly good as well. I haven't actually had a chance to look at it yet, but there we go. Yeah,
I've joined his Facebook page a few weeks back, and he's putting up new work all the time. It really is outstanding. I really do like it.
Nice.
I'll put the link up to his Facebook page in the notes below, actually, as well. Do take a look at that.
Perfect.
All right, shall we kick off with the publication history, sir?
Indeed. Right. Yeah. Smith worked on the story in August 1932. He first mentioned it in a letter to Genevieve Sully, dated August the 4th. So the idea of this story, like Adventure in Futurity, came from a suggestion by Wonder Stories editor David Lasser and Hugo Gernsback. So this is definitely a case of one of those he was kind of working to order. Like Futurity and that Martian story that was a competition winner.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So it's a similar setup to that. It was suggested to him by somebody else, so and then Smith obviously took the idea and ran with it. So when he wrote it, and it was accepted on August the 25th, and Lasser basically had a couple of issues with it. He wanted it to, like, some bits cutting down a little bit or some bits expanding. Now, this Smith did the revisions on the story, but they arrived too late for inclusion.
Oh dear.
Yeah. So what we've got is the original, but Our version, which we're going from, has the revisions, so it's slightly different from the version published in Wonder Stories. I don't know
Right.
how different because I've not read the version in Wonder Stories, but there you go. So this is a slightly different version to that was in the pulp. So Dimension of Chance was published in the November 1932 issue of Wonder Stories, and as Wonder Stories was a Gernsback outfit, this is one of the stories that he had trouble getting paid for. So, as we know from various other episodes, Gernsback was a bit shy with his purse strings, I think is the way of putting it.
Yeah, he was wasn't good at paying his authors on time, was he?
No. So in the end, Smith hired an attorney by the name of Ian Webber, who eventually collected $65 for the story.
God, imagine having to hire attorney for $65. I wonder what attorneys charged back then. Were they on a percentage? Kind of thing, perhaps.
No win, no fee.
yeah, but I wonder how that worked. Presumably Smith had to fork out for that,
Yeah.
rather than Gernsback. So
when you think about it, 65 quid's actually quite a good amount from back then.
yeah, oh yeah. It's not a handful of change, is it?
No, it was worth chasing up, but yeah, he may have lost out on the deal in the end. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was reading just recently, and I can't remember if it was Gernsback or one of the others. They ended up owing Smith something like $700 or something like that, which again, that's like a bloody year's wages, isn't it? You know?
Well, yeah. Because I know Smith had trouble with a couple of publishers in that respect, but I think Gernsback was the most egregious. I don't think he had to call in attorneys on anybody else, but so yeah, I would say it was probably Gernsback who owed him.
He should have got Two Gun Bob to go pay him a visit. I think that would have been my approach. And a sudden sharp rapping at your door, and a 6 foot odd tall Texan is filling the doorway.
Yeah, but his big eye undrawn. Yeah,
Ooh, I say, yeah. Well, he was quite handy with his fists, old Bob Howard.
Was he?
He did a bit of boxing in his time. Oh yeah.
Oh, he did, didn't he? Yeah.
Like to run around with a sword, you know. And who doesn't? Let's face it.
You keep your sword sheathed.
Too cold today, mate.
Yeah.
So let's look at our favourite words then. I don't think I had any words that I didn't know the meaning of or couldn't guess the meaning of. So we're a bit light in that respect, of course, compared to some of our more fantastic stories, but that's not unusual for the science fiction. However, there's a few real nice sounding words, and I'm going to start with infrangible, which has a lovely tone to it, which means unbreakable.
Yes, I think we've had that one before in something. I can't remember what story it was. Yeah, there was a couple that I wasn't actually sure on. This one here is Araucaria. I think that's how you pronounce it. Araucaria. Yeah, which is an evergreen conifer of the genus that contains the monkey puzzle.
Oh, monkey puzzles.
Yeah, so there you go. I didn't actually know that one. So there you go.
And one that I did have to just check on was rufous. Rufous, rufous light. I had a pretty good idea, and I was right. It means reddy brown, because obviously someone called Rufus normally has red hair and so on and so on.
The next one I've got again is one that you can obviously tell what it means, but I really like it. I've never actually seen it used like this before. Leatheroid.
Oh yes, yeah.
It's better than faux leather, isn't it? Because it's artificial leather. But leatheroid.
We are the leatheroids.
Exactly. It sounds like a Doctor Who monster. It's great.
My next choice is incertitude, which simply means being uncertain. Again, the meaning was pretty clear, but I've never seen that word used anywhere before, I don't think.
Yeah, similar with this next one. I think I have seen it used before, but it's one I really like. So lancelate.
Nice.
Lancelate, yes. Shaped like a lance head. There you go.
And I'm going to finish with pulverous, which means like dust or powder. A pulverous cloud, I think we get later on.
Nice. I'm going to finish with an old favourite of mine that I can never pronounce. Legerdemain.
Yes.
Which basically means deception or trickery, but specifically skilled use of one's hands when performing conjuring tricks.
Nice. Sleight of hand.
Yeah. Sleight of hand.
The hand is faster than the eye, which is why there's so many people about with black eyes.
Yes. There you go. Or the classic northern term. There's a man whose mouth got his eye into trouble.
Yes. All right. So the dimension of chance, as we mentioned, it's science fiction. We're in the far-flung future of 1975, I believe.
Yeah, 1975.
I always find it interesting when you go back and look at what. Now, I'm not saying Smith is making a scientific prediction here. He's writing a story, but it is interesting to pick up on these things, and it seems to be quite common that back in the 20s, 30s, 40s, they thought that by this time we'd have moon bases and spaceships and all that kind of stuff, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
And this was really before flight we had planes, but we were not in the jet sort of age or anything like that yet, are we?
No. But when you think about it, I mean, people in the 70s thought we'd be living on the moon by now.
Well, that's true. That is true. Yeah.
The fact that we're not is a bone of contention. We've gone wrong somewhere. We've gone wrong.
I did see, and I know it's YouTube, right? So take it with a pinch of salt, but there was someone making the point, and they were interviewing NASA staff and asking, why haven't we gone back to the moon? Given that the computing power we had then was like a fraction of what you got in your phone now. Probably a fraction of what you got in your toaster, to be honest.
I was going to say my vape is probably more powerful than their computers.
Yeah, and the response was, oh, we lost the technology, or we don't know, we can't remember how we did it. It was some really odd response. Now, as I say, that was a YouTube thing, but it is interesting. I wonder what the real reasons are. Answers on a postcard. I think it's that big monolith on the other side, personally.
Yeah. It's the dark side, isn't it? It's I'll see you on the dark side of the moon. Nyarlathotep's pyramid.
Oh, yes, the Black Pyramid. The Black
exactly.
Stone. Yeah. Anyway, that's where we are. We're in 1975, and it's science fiction, so there's chaps involved, right? We've got Clement Morris, Secret Service operative and college chum of Andrew Markley, his pilot. So yeah, it's these two chums. Secret Service operative. I'm guessing, is that what the CIA was called, or was that OSS? I'm trying to think. During the war, I think it was OSS.
OSS, yeah.
And that became the CIA, didn't it?
Yeah, something like that.
And it seems that the US is at war with Japan. Morris has been tracking down a preternaturally clever spy for months by the name of Sakamoto, who is believed to have procured plans of many American fortifications, as well as information regarding projected army movements in the war against the Sino-Japanese Federation that had begun a year previous in 1975. Oh, sorry, we're in 1976. That makes a difference.
There we go.
Yeah,
it does.
The Sex Pistols have just played their first gig.
Indeed.
Ish, probably.
Yeah, you certainly know you're into chap territory by the opening line, don't you? Better get that pea shooter ready. I should say old chap.
Oh, we get later on, I think he calls him Old Scout and all that kind of. So it is very chaply, isn't it? And it's interesting that it's quite British again, isn't it?
It is.
Although these American forces, it is very Chumley Warner.
It does. It all feels a bit Biggles, doesn't it? It's until you get to the actual technology, because Markley had a rocket plane, which was said to be one of the swiftest in the entire corps. In its tight hull with oxygen tanks, helmets and parachutes already donned in case of accident. The two men were speeding onward at an acceleration so terrific that it held them in their seats as if with leaden straitjackets. So this is kind of quite on the nose, really.
It is. I thought there's a couple of interesting things here because military aviation, if we can put it that way, was very new. Obviously, that started in World War One. Well, initially, the planes were put up purely as scouts, reconnaissance, and they were unarmed. But sometimes they give the pilot or the co-pilot a rifle, and if he saw a Hun or whatever, they'd see if they could bag him. Firing a rifle. Well, going through the air or whatever. I mean, and then of course they ended up putting machine guns onto the planes and everything, but the pilots weren't given parachutes. Certainly with the British, as far as I know, the reason given was if they were given parachutes, they'd be inclined to bail out under fire.
Yeah.
And of course, the tragic thing that happened was they were set on fire and they couldn't bail out. And then you're given a choice of, well, you jump or you burn to death. I mean, you know.
It's madness, isn't it? No. What is that episode of Blackadder Goes Forth with Captain Flashheart? Yeah, the 15-minuters.
Yes, yeah, it's quite sobering, isn't it, when you see that?
It is, really. Yeah.
But keeping the parachutes on, even in the Second World War, that wasn't necessarily the case. I think if you're a fighter pilot, you probably did. But I was at Aviation Museum a little while back, Duxford, over near Cambridge, and they had a Lancaster bomber there that you could actually go on board, which is quite a rare thing to be able to do. Now, I'm 6 foot odd and reasonably wide in the shoulders. And I had to twist to get in through the doorway, and you can go left or you can go right. If you're left, you're going in your turret and your tail gun thing and all that. Right is towards the cockpit. But one of the reasons the Lancaster was so strong was the wing is a single spar, so it goes through the plane. So halfway along the fuselage, you've got this huge beam going across, and you have to crawl over it, this sort of 2 foot gap, to get to the cockpit. You can't do that if you're wearing a parachute. And if the plane gets hit, you have to get your parachute.
Bloody hell.
Get out through that little gap, dragging your parachute with you, then put the parachute on and then jump out. And I mean, well, you know, you can imagine.
Bloody hell.
But yeah, he's on with the G-force thing as well. I don't know how well known that was at the time.
Yeah.
Speeds would have been the 1930s. They were getting into racing with planes, weren't they? That was the first development of the Spitfire.
Yeah.
So you're probably looking at maybe 250 mile an hour, that kind of speed, I would think.
Yeah, something along them lines, I'd say. Yeah.
And this pair seemed to be a bit of a team. It's not the first time they had hunted down some national foe or traitor in company. And they're over Nevada and they're tracking down this spy. And we've got, they seems like they're quite high up.
Yeah.
They drove on between the dark blue heavens and the dim earth with its mottlings of mountains and desert. The roar of the rockets was strangely thin in that rarefied air. Before them, the light of the stark sun falling westward glittered on the wings and hull of the Japanese as if on some great silver beetle. So, although it's we start in mundane surroundings and it all changes very quickly, we still get some nice description from Smith here, I think.
Oh, yeah, and there's some great descriptions when we get to the actual change. There's some brilliant vegetation coming up. There is. I've found a few band names and album titles as well as we go through. So
excellent. We've not had many of those lately, have we, actually?
No, there's a load in this. But yeah, basically, it seems like it's one of those things. It's kind of like a race against time, isn't it? They've got to stop this nefarious chap from getting to San Francisco. So, you know, it's one of those. It is very much, you know, those old movies, those race against time movies. And, you know, they'll be going along and then there'll be some kind of like problem with the electrics and one of them will have to try and fix it. And we've not a moment to lose. Come on.
Bulldog Drummond kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. That's it. Yeah. I was thinking more Dastardly and Muttley, but there we go.
Nice. And yeah, so this is all going on. Let me get something a little bit odd. We get a vague, misty blur, such as might appear in sun-dazzled eyes, that suddenly developed in mid-air beyond the Japanese. The blur baffled him like an atmospheric blind spot, having neither form nor hue, nor delimitable outlines. But it seemed to enlarge rapidly and to blot out the map-like scene beyond in an inexplicable manner. And the Japanese plane goes into this and disappears. And I think this is odd. It's not a cloud. It's not fog. There's no other clouds around. Well, he's not going to escape just by doing that. So obviously they're going to follow him in.
Yeah. So we get another one of those brilliant transition moments, don't we? That Smith's so good at. But again, it's different.
Yes. Oh, and we do get a mention of the speed here as well. Diving horizontally ahead at 600 miles per hour. So
yes,
that's probably pretty much jet speed for, I'm trying to think, Second World War, Spitfires 350, 400 miles an hour. So this will probably be the first jets will be doing this, I imagine. But not far out.
No.
But yeah, they fly into this, and as you say, we get this very nice transition.
Yeah, diving horizontally ahead at 600 miles per hour, the vessel neared the strange blur, which had now blotted out a huge section of the sky and world. It was like a sort of blindness spreading on the upper air, but it did not convey the idea of darkness or of anything material or tangible. Both Morris and Markley, as they neared it, felt that they were peering with strained, eluded eyes at something that was virtually beyond the scope of human vision. A thing that was neither dark nor light, nor coloured with any known hue. An instant more while the blur devoured the heavens with terrible momentum. Then, as the plane rushed into it, a blindness fell on the two men, and they could no longer discern the vessel's interior or its ports. So yeah, it just goes on to describe it as like an ineffable darkness, like that being covered in cotton wool. So you're very different from the other transitions, isn't it?
Yeah, so I think another big difference here is they've lost the sense of movement. Normally in those other ones, we talk it was about a sense of dislocation, of
spinning and tumbling,
all that kind of stuff. They didn't know if they're flying or falling or suspended, and everything becomes very slow and sluggish before suddenly, like the lifting of a curtain, they find themselves in a strange flickering brownish red light. They can see the interior of the hull again. They can behold each other's goggled helmets and leatheroid air suits.
Brilliant.
And they're aware that they are falling gently. And that's when he looks out through the window and yeah, we're not in Nevada anymore.
No, and I really like this bit because this is very strange, very uncanny to the thought, isn't it? Through the ports, he and Morris saw a multicolored chaos of outlandish and incomprehensible forms into which the plane was descending slowly with incredible lightness, like a downward floating leaf or feather.
Yes.
When you picture it in your head, like the plane sort of drifting down like a leaf. That's strange, right?
Yeah. They've lost any control of the ship. They don't know where they are at all. And chapter 2, the Valley of the Mirages, is where they're trying to work out where they might be. They decide not to jump. They're going down slow anyway. It's not going to be any safer with the parachutes. And this is quite a slow descent, taking many minutes. And once or twice, the vessel hung motionless for a moment. What they see below are irregular hills, mottled with grey, green, ochre, and violet black, lifted about them in the rufous light. And they perceived that they were settling into a kind of valley bottom. The ground beneath them was partly bare, partly covered with objects that resembled vegetable growths rather than anything else. These plants, or plant-like things, as the plane settled closer above them, displayed a remarkable diversity of shape, size, and hue, ranging from leafless, limbless stems to great tree forms with a crowded foliation that suggested some impossible crossing of Araucaria and banana. The whole impression of this flora, even at that first glimpse, was one of lawless variety and illimitable grotesquerie. That's nice Smith language, isn't it?
Isn't it? Yeah, illimitable grotesquerie. Just something I just popped into my head when you read the title. Smith, in the space of like, I guess, a couple of months, he was writing the stories over a couple of months. He likes his mirages at the minute. That's his thing of the moment, isn't it? Because he's done mirages in like 3 stories that we've covered recently.
Yes, and he also made reference to, I think it was fairly recently in the letters, this idea of humans going to a totally alien planet and struggling to make sense of it. And that's very much what we get in this story, I think. We do get, as no doubt we'll get to, some things that have been used, a bit overused before, perhaps. But on a purely descriptive level, then this is fine work, I think.
Oh yeah, the world building and the actual concept itself is very odd, and yeah, very dreamlike.
Yeah.
Which actually, Smith actually mentions the dreamlands in like the last paragraph or something, doesn't he? So yeah, it does have that kind of dream logic to it.
Yeah, and this nice idea that I'm sure we'll pick up on later as well of cosmic anarchy versus an order, an imposed order in a universe.
That's one of my band names, Cosmic Anarchy.
Cosmic anarchy, of course. Yeah. Wow, that would be like in a city unit or something like that, wouldn't
Yeah, yeah.
it? So we get a lot of description in this, and it starts with the vegetation. And as you mentioned earlier, Smith never disappoints with his descriptions of alien flora or fauna and the creatures later on as well, of course.
Mm.
He was now peering at the ground about the vessel, which offered a remarkable mosaic of numberless elements, a conglomeration of parti-coloured soils, ores, and mineral forms, wholly unstratified and chaotic. It was mostly bare and broken into uneven mounds and hummocks, but here and there, in patches of poisonous-looking clay or marl, peculiar grasses grew, with blades that varied in the same manner as the large growths, so that one might well have imagined that each blade belonged to a separate genus.
Something I really enjoy here is Markley's reaction to this.
I know.
Jumping Jesus. Mother Nature certainly was inventive when she designed this place. Typical understatement from a chap, you know.
Yes, I say, good gosh, yes.
Good golly. Yeah.
And that again brings us back to the idea of Mother Nature carefully nurtures and grows everything on Earth. And, you know, an oak tree is an oak tree and an elm tree is an elm tree. Here, everything looks so random. I mean, I guess you can get into a scientific argument about evolution being random or not and all sorts of things, but maybe later. And yeah, we get some nice drug references in this one as well.
Yeah, because they're bickering about whether it's the plane that's knackered or not, aren't they?
Oh yeah. Morris is quite quick here to point the finger. You sure the tubes are all right? Perhaps we run short of fuel there. Huh. The tone was superbly contemptuous. I know this boat. There's nothing the matter with the rocket mechanism, and I loaded up to the limit with nitrone before we started. We could have chased Sakamoto to the Great Wall of China and back again if necessary without refueling. I tell you, we're up against something that was omitted from the textbooks. Just look at this ungodly hole anyway. It's like the scrambled hallucinations of 100 cases of delirium tremens.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Yeah.
And Morris's response.
I know. It's great.
I've monkeyed with hashish and peyote beans in my time, but I never saw anything like this. Peyote beans. That's interesting, isn't
Nice.
it? So, yeah, hashish, you know, California and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But I can't think that Smith has referenced peyote before.
No, but again, California, you know, there was a lot of peyote coming across the border and that, wasn't there?
Yes, mescalito.
Mescaline, yeah.
There's another way you know these are chaps as well, right? Because when they decide to get out of the plane and have a little look around, they have brought along a few sandwiches and a thermos bottle of coffee.
Yeah, I know. It's great, isn't it? Didn't we have this before in another story when it was like he brought his sandwiches and a thermos and his trusty revolver?
I like to think they were meat paste sandwiches with cucumber.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Sardine spread. Yeah.
Oh, God, you remember that stuff? They've both got automatic pistols as well. So, yeah, they're armed chaps. They get kitted up and out they go. It seems it's quite warm and there's a heavy and lopsided sun glaring down overhead. There's a few clouds with unearthly forms floating idly about the sun. And far off in the lower heavens, above dim hills and crags, other clouds went racing by it as if driven by a mad tempest. That's a little bit of foreshadowing there, possibly, for what we get later on.
Yeah. It's interesting because they did bring up the drug thing, because that is kind of like, especially in film, when somebody's on a trip or something, they would speed the clouds up, you know?
Yeah.
And then have them sort of gazing round like goggle-eyed, you know. It's all a bit Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, isn't
it? Yeah. Sounds like a similar landscape.
Yeah, exactly.
And when they look above, they can see that blurry spot in the sky again. And they speculate here that it's formed by the meeting or overlapping of two kinds of space and was the entrance between their own world and some alien dimension into which they had been precipitated. So that's the impression I get. It's like a window almost, like the door to Saturn. You know, you open this thing and then you pop out somewhere, who knows where.
Yeah, I couldn't help thinking of like the Bermuda Triangle.
Oh,
because it's like that, isn't it? It's like they flew into some kind of air disturbance and ended up in, the void.
the beyond, yes, the beyond,
Yeah.
or a Barry Manilow video, even worse.
I was going to say that's a fate worse than death, isn't it? Bloody Manilow.
But they are chaps after all, so they pull themselves together and decide we're going to go to the nearest forest, which Morris describes as, I move that we head for the nearest timber.
Indeed.
He wants to get undercover, which, seems like a sensible thing because they don't know where where their foe are.
Yeah.
And this line I thought was interesting. Well, I'm not taking any more chances than I have to. I don't care for the idea of a soft-nosed Japanese bullet in the back. And I was wondering about that soft nose. Is that the implication of like a dum-dum bullet?
I was going to say, I thought a dum-dum. Yeah.
Yeah. Or is it the fact that if you're on planes and all that stuff, or spaceships, you want to shoot low velocity rounds. You don't want things going through people and then out through the wall and all that stuff. Maybe.
Possible. Yeah.
And there's a mention of rocket fuel as well, so perhaps that's another thing.
Yeah, because they speculate that if the rocket fuel won't explode in this world, there's no certainty that cartridges will either. So probably better to clapping them around the head with the revolver,
So obviously it's weird because we're in a strange place, but that's all it is at the moment, But it very quickly starts to get weirder because they get these changes in gravity. They start off bouncing around like walking on the moon. Then they're in a zone that's normal. And then in another zone, they're leaping a dozen yards with every step. So the gravity seems variable, which scientifically I would have thought was impossible, at least in our dimension.
Yeah, because it's not just the gravity that's all weird as well, and obviously the vegetation and everything, but it's the perception, isn't it? Distance, and it's all non-Euclidean, as Lovecraft would say.
Oh, yes.
It's all...
Yes.
Yeah, they can see something over there, then all of a sudden it's on top of them, kind of thing. It does remind me of something, something I've read, and I can't for the life of me think what it is. But yeah, it just rings a bell that it's that kind of weird perceptual shift that goes with the gravitational. It's almost like this whole place is made up of pockets.
Oh, yeah.
Like pockets of disturbance, kind of thing.
Yeah. And we get another little reference here. High in the heavens above all the other growths, there towered two incredibly elongated bowls, such as might be seen in the delirium of hashish. Is that a band name or an album? The delirium of hashish. That's an album.
That's got to be an album. Yeah. That's got to be an album. With lots of that 70s whacker whacker on it, and a frenzied saxophone.
Oh, we do like a frenzied saxophone. It's the best. Yeah. It's the best type of saxophone. It's like the antinode of your Kenny G saxophone, isn't it?
Yes, indeed.
The lift music.
Oh God, smooth jazz. Is there anything more tedious?
So yeah, they start to get this sense of dislocation of the senses. Very difficult to judge distances. Things are far away. Things are close. We get more nice descriptions of these various types of plant. And then we see our first creature. So far, they had met nothing in the form of animal life. Now, as they neared the forest, a creature that was like a poddy and spider-legged serpent came down as if from the heavens on one of the preposterously tall bowls, running swiftly. Curiosity tinged by a nightmarish horror, the men stepped toward the tree, unable to decide which end of this curious creature was the head and which the tail. Well, we've got the word poddy there, which is always a favourite, our old friend.
I knew you'd pick up on that. I knew you were going to pick up on that.
Poddy prawns. Spider-legged serpent, that's a nice image, isn't it?
Isn't it?
Well, not nice, It's horrible, but yeah.
Oh, so the sort of thing I'd like to keep as a pet, and they'd have you running for the hills.
Yeah, I'm not coming round while that's there. And I think this is something we see later on, is this Well, we're back to this Lovecraftian idea of, is that actually a serpent with spider legs, or is that the closest thing they can approximate it to? We're back to that animals made up of bits of other animals, trying to make sense of what we're seeing.
Oh yeah, because there's a whole smorgasbord of weird chimeras later on, isn't there? It's like all the kind of weird and wonderful beasties. I love that paragraph.
Mm. So yeah, we get this same thing again. They're turning around. The valley is somewhere else, and it's totally changed. They've lost sight of their rocket plane, but then see it much further away than it should be. So against this sense of distance and space changing all the time, for perhaps the first time in their lives, they knew the sensation of being utterly lost in a bournless world of incertitude. Their habitual buoyancy and jauntiness began to evaporate, giving place to a furtive, unacknowledged terror. So you can imagine this is stepping across the threshold again, isn't it? This is the fracturing of reality. And actually, they seem to be accepting it pretty well and coping with it quite well.
Yeah. I'd like this little explanation of how it is, because it's again, it's very druggy images, isn't it? But described as a nightmare confusion. Changing zones of gravity made their progress erratic and uncertain, and the landscape melted and shifted about them like the imagery of a kaleidoscope.
Nice.
Yeah, I like that, because again, that's something that you can instantly sort of picture, the kaleidoscopic shifting, you know. Again, it's all very 60s music video, isn't it?
However, Morris does catch a silvery glint and he spots the Japanese plane and the three figures next to it. There they are, said Morris. And I like the way he puts this. Shall we try to interview them?
Nice.
Interview them. And Markley's response, you're the captain, old scout. I'm game if you are.
Yeah.
They don't lose, despite what Smith says just now, they don't lose their chipperness, do they? They're still remarkably chipper.
Yeah. It was like here again, Markley's like, I guess we'll play tag with some more mirages.
Yeah.
It's that almost gallows humor, isn't it? Trying to deal with this really uncanny situation they're in by just going, meh, and taking the mickey out of it. You know, it's very human.
It's the sang-froid, isn't it? Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Always reminds you of that Blackadder one, the great one with Tom Baker.
Oh,
where Raleigh comes back and what was it he said? It rains so hard it'll make your head bleed. Oh, some sort of hat is probably in order.
Yeah, indeed. You have a woman's purse, my lord.
Great episode. Great episode.
Oh, cracking.
So we get this, we can't really call it a chase scene, but they're trying to get across to their enemies and everything is just going totally jumbled now. Things appear before them. When they go round it, the Japanese are suddenly there, then they're not. Everything's topsy-turvy. They're going to try and capture the Japanese. They disappear. The whole valley swirls around. They find themselves at the foot of a barren slope, and the stream in that slope is flowing uphill, rather strangely. That brings us into chapter 3, The People of Chance, where they walk uphill to follow this stream, but it feels like they're going downhill.
Nice.
So total confusion at this point.
Yeah. This reminded me of the first ever Fifth Doctor story, Castrovalva, because it was basically like a medieval kind of village that was set up by the master as a trap. And when it starts folding in on itself, it all becomes disjointed, jumbled images, and they're running around and they keep coming back to the square. And it was basically inspired by the works of M.C. Escher. So you could also use Labyrinth in this, you know, with the staircases coming down and all that.
Yeah.
It is very sort of Escher-like, isn't it, this imagery?
Yes, that's very true. Yeah. The only thing film-wise I could think about was something like Inception or whatever, where you get that change of perspective.
Even Nightmare on Elm Street, to a degree.
Yeah. And I suppose, again, we can speculate, is this the place or is it them? It's just, this is something working on their minds, or is this the actual place itself?
Yeah.
I think probably the latter, given what we find out later on. This is a place of chaos. Sort of reminds me a little bit of Monkey as well, the old TV series and the book. You know, before heaven and earth has formed, everything sort of swirling around in chaos. That kind of feeling.
Nice. Yeah.
So basically, we have a bit of wandering about for a page or so.
Yes. In fact, we have got quite a few pages of wandering about now.
Yes, yes. And again, the description is all very nice. It's all very well done. And they decide in the end, if they follow the rim of the valley, they think they can work their way back to their plane, their rocket plane. However, they hit another zone of heavy gravity, and this one barely allows them to move at all. So they're struggling to work through this, like wading through treacle, I imagine, when we get the appearance of scores or hundreds of entities who, whether mere beasts or the analogues of humanity, were no less various and freakish in their conformation than the weird flora of the valley bottom. And this is where Smith goes into overdrive on his aliens now.
Oh, yes, this is tremendous stuff. Obviously, there was no common norm or type of development as in the terrestrial species. Some of the entities were no less than 12 or 13 feet tall. Others were squat pygmies. Limbs, bodies, and sense organs were equally diversified. One creature was like a prodigious moonfish mounted on stilts. Another was a legless, rolling globe fringed about the equator with prehensile ropes that served to haul it along by attaching themselves to projections. Still another resembled a wingless bird with a great falcon beak and a tapering serpentine body with lizard legs that glided half erect. Some of the creatures possessed double or triple bodies. Some were hydra-headed or equipped with an excessive number of limbs, eyes, mouths, ears, and other anatomical features.
It's great, isn't it? It's nice. And I like that he describes them, but doesn't fully describe them. Like just that case of describing something by omission. They haven't got eyes or noses or mouths. And that's the description. You know, it leaves it a lot to the mind, which is nice.
Yes.
And as I said, as we always say, it's not men in rubber suits.
Yeah, definitely.
I think back in the day, they would have had trouble adapting this. These would have all been men in suits right now. I mean, you know, easy these days. In fact, I'd like to see it now.
Well, yeah, I'd like to see a giant moonfish on a pair of stilts. I mean, that's an image for the age, isn't it?
That reminds me, there was a series in the 70s, a cartoon series called Tomfoolery.
Oh, yeah.
And it's very difficult to find or get a hold of.
I vaguely remember that.
We're gonna, yeah, I won't sing the theme tune. And it was a lot of Lewis Carroll poems and all that sort of thing. And one of the cartoon hosts was a goldfish in a bowl walking on stilts with boots on the bottom. So he was kind of sat up in his bowl and he's looking at me like I've gone mad.
That's brilliant. No, I was thinking that's great. Somebody stuck some peyote beads in your cornflakes.
Wow, the corners, man. Yeah, I'm going to see if I can. There might be one little clip up on YouTube. I'll see if I can find that and put it in the notes. This is what I grew up with, folks. That and banana splits and all this stuff. Is it any wonder?
Splits, Christ.
Is it any wonder? Yeah, totally surreal in a sense, right? This is your elephants with giraffe necks and all that kind of stuff, isn't it? Well, Dartley hadn't even started that stuff at this time, had he? I don't think.
No, I was about to say this is like a Salvador Dali acid trip, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And then we get this idea again that seems to be a theme in this. Truly, these beings were the spawn of chance, the random creations of a lawless biologic force. So again, that idea, there's a lawful, if I can put it that way, biologic force and a lawless one. This conflict between chaos and order. But what do you do? If you're a chap and you see this, what do you do? There's only one thing to do, isn't it? 3 rounds, rapid.
Yeah, 3 rounds rapid. Yeah.
That does nothing. Achieves nothing.
No, seldom does in these kind of things, you know.
No. And a throng is upon them. The pistols are torn from their hands. It's quite a nice image. They've got these things thronging and milling about them. You can visualize that very easily, can't you? Tentacles and strange appendages being wrapped around you and you're being lifted up and pulled about.
Yeah.
And they're carried off, basically.
Yeah, and it's incredibly disorientating. Well, I imagine it would be, because obviously because of the strange sort of visual distortion that they're dealing with. So they're seeing all this in broken glimpses as they're being carried along. So you got like random bits of landscape appearing and disappearing, and that'd be really, really weird, wouldn't it?
It is. It's a real bad trip at this moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
That brings us into chapter 4, the pit of dissolution. So they're brought to this ring about the slopes of a circular hollow, which has a clear space at the bottom. And in the centre of that space, we see this. A fountain of fine, hueless powder rose from the stone and soil, attaining a height of 3 feet. Slowly but acceleratively, it widened and rose higher, preserving the form of a round column. Its top mushroomed into a vague cloud, spreading above the heads of the assembled throng and floating skyward. It was as if some process of molecular dissolution were taking place to form this fountain. So we've got quite a nuclear image there, the mushroom cloud, haven't we?
Yeah.
And this is where Smith very much draws on the previous story, I think.
Singing flame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's basically what this is, right? The things press into this and it dissolves them.
Yeah.
And obviously they're carrying the humans with them.
Yeah. I like, again, Markley. Are they all going to commit suicide and take us with them? Oh, it looks like it, doesn't it?
Crikey.
Crikey. Cripes.
And this is where, now, again, Smith falls into another trope. I think we both agree that description-wise, great. Plot-wise, it's a little bit creaky. We've got the taken to another place, landing on an alien planet, get captured, get put into peril, and suddenly escape through some means totally unexpected and unpredictable. In this case, a huge storm. With the suddenness as of some atmospheric legerdemain, the twilight blackened into Sumerian darkness. A mad elemental howling tore the air. A blind hurricane filled the crater, blowing as if from above, and bolts of lightning leapt upward from the ground. And I've written in my notes here, that's Andy. You know, it's a bit Flash Gordon, isn't it, that stuff? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but it is very much in keeping with the scientifiction of the time. I mean, it was all that, wasn't it? Land on an alien planet, meet some weird and wonderful things, get taken to your leader. You know, if you Captain Kirk, shag a couple of blue women and then run away.
Yeah, and then some big being at the end goes, "Oh, I will save you, humans. You must change your ways," kind of thing, which is pretty much what we get here as well.
Pretty much. Yeah. I think the biggest issue I have with this setup is that he's done it before. I can't remember the story. Was it The Adventure in Futurity, or was it one of the other ones? Or?
It feels like so many of them to me. What's the one where he's on the battlefield and the flying saucer pops up above him and all that kind of stuff, and everyone gets captured, and it did feel a little bit tired to me in that sense, I think. But he's writing for a pulp. He's writing for $65. You know.
Well, yeah, pretty much writing to order. This is again like Futurity and like some other stories. That it was basically Lasser goes, "Can you write me this? We'll publish it. We'll give you 65 quid for it." Yeah, all right. I mean, I do it. People do it to me.
Sure, of course, absolutely. And if the brief is for action, then he's giving them action. I mean, this is full of action, right? There's plenty going on.
Because I don't know what kind of brief he'd be given. Because I mean, I can only talk from my personal thing. I'd be basically given like a bunch of bullet points. Can you get this in, this in, this in, this in? We want it set here, we want it set there, you need to do this, that, and the other. By the time you've incorporated all that, there's not much else you can go with it. You just put your own spin on it.
Yeah.
So, you know, but at the end of the day, you just lie back, think of England, and take the 100 quid. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So this storm, the lightning, destroys the remaining creatures, and they go like a phew, that was close. When suddenly there's another big, huge howl of wind, and Morris and Markley find themselves separated. And we follow Morris now, lying dazed and breathless, found himself alone amid barren reaches of rock and sand. And I like the way he's going around now, hallooing loudly, but answered only by sardonic echoes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's a sardonic echoes. There you go.
Yeah, that was another one that I was picking up on. Yeah.
So we get him traipsing around for a bit, and I think he does start to sink a bit into despair here, because obviously he's thirsty, not sure how much oxygen he's got left. things are starting to look a bit grim. Momentarily crushed by the horror of it all, he sat down on the crater slope in the rusty brown gloom. Could this be the end of our chaps? Chapter 5, The Masters of Chance. That should be a Hawkwind album name.
Yes, I'm pretty sure a band has used Masters of Chance as an album title. They have to have. Yeah.
We are the Masters of Chance. Join us in our cosmic dance. I still got it.
Well, a theremin. Well, there'd have to be a theremin.
We are available for any space rock bands. I've got virtually albums full of space rock songs, lined up, but nice. It's just getting around to recording them and finding things like drummers and stuff,
Yeah.
This is where we get the return of the creatures. A dozen or more of the monstrous people had returned. Some of them were gnawing the cindery bones of their late companions, but 3, as if disdaining such fare, were closing in upon Morris. So yeah, the creatures are back, and I think they decided that rather than take him into the fountain, these ones want to eat him. It's the impression he's getting.
Yeah, and again, there's some great creatures here, which I'm going to read this again because I have to, because there's a bit that made me laugh.
I know what you're going to say.
A headless thing with ropey arms and a puckered mouth-like orifice in the center of its gourd-shaped body tried to drag him down with its frightfully elongated members. Another, which might have been some heraldic griffin minus wings and feathers, began to peck at his air suit with its tremendous horny beak. The third was more like a horribly overgrown toad than anything else, hopped about him, and mumbled his ankles with its toothless mouth.
I'm very impressed that you managed to read a paragraph with the words orifice and horny in and keep a straight face, to be honest.
I nearly broke. It was after horny beak, I nearly went.
I love this as well. Time and again he kicked away the toad-like creature, which returned with noisome pertinacity.
That's great, isn't it?
Only Smith could get away with that kind of right.
Yeah. Only Smith could get away with the phrase noisome pertinacity.
So things are looking grim. Obviously, it's trying to fight these creatures off, but it's not having much success. When he hears the sound of measured drumming from above, in a turn of the eddying combat, he saw that 2 gigantic beings had arrived among the monsters and were standing a little apart as if watching the gruesome orgy with detached interest. And these things are humanoid, right? So they stand out from everything else. The description puts me in mind of gargoyles, or I think he describes them as satanic angels.
Yes.
Big, huge, big winged things.
Yeah. Ribbed and leathery, like ancient pterodactyls.
And they're like 11, 12 feet tall. So these are big things. Mm-hmm. And they're just sort of standing there watching, aloof and dispassionate. And they look at him, and it's as though they make some sort of decision because they rescue him. And they do that just by stepping in and lifting a hand in a leisurely but imperious gesture. As if fearful or recognizant of a superior power, the loathsome assailants abandoned their efforts to drag Morris down and slunk away to assuage their hunger on an unpreempted carrion that lay beside the pit in the crater's bottom. So they've commanded these creatures to leave him alone.
Again, this really reminded me of old sci-fi, where you have like these weird and wonderful creatures, and then the sort of overlord of the planet will turn up and go, enough.
It is that, isn't it? The things that live in the swamp, and then there's the thing that lives in the castle, right?
Exactly.
It's very much that thing, isn't it?
It's all a bit Ming the Merciless, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Leave him.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is where we get the exposition, I suppose. It is exposition, because they touch him and they establish this two-way psychic link, which I thought, actually, this is the thing that Robert E. Howard uses a fair bit, particularly in the Conan stories. I can think of a couple of examples like The Devil in Iron, where you get to see or you get to experience what the main monster or creature, its background is all about. You know, it's a nice way of doing it without filling in a load of just, he speculated that perhaps this was a whatever.
Well, it goes back to classic ghost stories, doesn't it? Because there was always that moment where the ghost would run through somebody and they would get the flashes of how they died and what the problem is. And, it's that classic ghost story thing, isn't it? Just extrapolated into scientific fiction, basically.
Yes, I never thought of that. Yeah. So these creatures, he learns, were members of a race that was far from numerous. They were the rulers of this outlandish world, the self-made masters of its incalculable forces and disorganized elements. Their evolution had been supremely difficult and painful. Through their own volition, they had risen from a state that was little higher than that of the unhappy monsters. They had developed faculties that enabled them to circumvent the lawlessness of their environment, to forecast its very randomness, and impose law and order on the ever-changing chaos. They had even learned to control their own development. So yeah, very Star Trek vibes, I think, there as well.
Yeah, very much.
And I know I speculate a lot on this and say it quite often, but Roddenberry, a Smith fan, I can't help but feeling there was some familiarity with Smith's work there.
Well, he must have read the pulps, as a kid. That's kind of what I would have thought. But yeah, I just want to pick up there. You missed out a cracking name for a psychobilly band.
Oh, go on.
The Unhappy Monsters.
Oh, yes. Oh, that is good.
Yeah.
That's a keeper. That's a right down.
Yeah,
that
it's a
one.
good one, isn't it?
The Unhappy Monsters. That's nice. I like that. So they take him on a little fly around, as you do. They show him their citadels with its majestically ordered architecture that defied the erratic formlessness of the world beneath. He knew the terraces lined with geometric rows of trees and flowers in which, by some miracle of horticultural mastery, the random flora had been subdued and had taken on the characters of types and species. So what he discerns is really through the power of their dynamic will and occult magnetism and sense development, they're able to tame this chaos and build something that he recognizes as order anyway. But they're under constant threat from the forces of cosmic anarchy.
Love it. So again, this is one of those tropes that you get in sci-fi and things like that. You get these lands that are tamed by these sort of deity-like creatures, right? And what always happens in those stories is the deity-like creature will be dying or dead, and everything is plunged into chaos. Actually, it's more fantasy that you see it in, don't you?
Yeah.
He tames the wild lands, and now his time is almost up. Who will step forward to rescue this land before it falls to the forces of chaos?
Well, I mean, look at Lord of the Rings there. You got the forces of law and order in the West besieged by, Sauron's darkness and chaos and corruption. It's a very old trope, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I guess it's biblical, isn't it, really, if you think about it?
Well, yeah, but I think when you go back to this time, certainly, and you think Tolkien was kind of contemporary here as well, it's very much that empire bringing order, isn't it?
Yeah,
imposing order on the lawless parts of the world and all the rest of it. Well, I mean, that was their excuse for colonialism.
I was going to say, it's that colonial attitude all over again, isn't it?
That's how they justify things and still do, because I heard something, well, let's not get into that, but, it's, this idea that you need order, but it's our type of order. You've got to be the right sort of chap.
Yes, tweeds and a pith helmet.
Yes, even though these chappies are tall and have got wings, they're still obviously the right sort of chap.
Indeed, yeah.
And in fact, they help him. They help him find his friend because this is, as I said, it's a two-way psychic link, so they know everything that has happened to him. And they spot Markley because they see a rocket plane, which is the Japanese one, but that is being engulfed in a moving tide of sand. So that's the Japanese guys. They've got no way out. However, the Japanese guys have found the American rocket, are now involved in a bit of a fight with Markley for it. Who's, is 1 against 3, so he's doing his best. But of course, once the Masters of Chance intervene, well, they do intervene quite spectacularly, don't they?
Yeah, it's almost Zeus-like, isn't it? Wallop, lightning bolt. I like that fight. Again, it reminded, if it was filmed, they'd all be on wires was like a really dodgy, like 70s kung fu movie, right? You know, it was lots of and all the rest of it because it's like because of the gravity, Markley's leaping around and evading their strikes. It's all very, very comical to me. So like you get the yakety sax in there and it'd be class, you know.
Nice, nice. And I always like this. You see this quite a lot from this time period. One of the Japanese had drawn an ugly curved knife. Curved knives are always ugly.
Oh yeah,
That's interesting. I think a curved knife can look quite nice.
ornamental. Yeah.
Yeah. So these things come flying down. The Japanese are a bit surprised, but you know, they're professionals as well. They keep up the fight. The second master, hanging in the air beside Morris's protector, raised his right hand and pointed at the flying Japanese. For an instant, his fingers seemed to clutch and hurl a great javelin of living fire. The javelin leapt and faded, and the Japanese, a shapeless pile of fuming cinders, lay at Markley's feet. Boom! Thunderbolts and lightning, very, very frightening.
Yeah. Again, it's always biblical, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, behave or I'll smite you.
Yeah. And that angelic reference, like Satan's angels, is interesting.
Indeed. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think one of the other Japanese guys gets zapped and the other one just runs off pretty much. I think he's swallowed up by the dust that's billowing around. So, you know, he's gone. And Markley must be going like, what the fuck?
Who's your mate?
Yeah. Oh, hi. Hi. Brought a couple of friends. And Morris is just saying, come on, we got to go. Let's move. Because there's that Star Trek thing again. Close above him, the two masters towered with spread wings. As if an urgent voice had spoken aloud, he knew the things that must be done without delay. So yeah, it is that, now you must leave this place and return to your home.
Yeah. Yes.
With that high-pitched hum in the background.
Yes, indeed.
So they spring back into the rocket plane. It manages to start. And off they go. I thought this was quite a nice ending, this part. Looking back through one of the ports, Morris perceived the two flying colossi who hung aloof in the heavens as if watching the departure of the plane. Serene, impassive, on poised wings, they floated beyond the atomic storm which had already begun to subside. He turned away with a strange awe, a reverential gratitude. So it is that, bye, thanks for helping us. And these two things just very impassive watching them go. Yeah, I don't know. I found that a nice little touch.
Mm.
And that's pretty much it. They're heading up towards that strange spot in the sky again. The knowledge that Morris got is already starting to fade. The vision of the citadels and all the rest of it. They're back up into the aerial blur and its greyness. And, well, basically, they pop out. Out of the blur, as if from a formless, hueless dream of death between two lives, the plane and its occupants floated into the dark azure of the terrene stratosphere. Sight, consciousness, feeling, memory returned in a sudden flood to Morris and Markley. Below them again, they saw in mottled relief the familiar reaches of Nevada, edged with white and saw-like mountains. Well, it's a happy ending, for one thing.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I just want to drag you back very quickly to the paragraph preceding that because we've got a cracking album title for a goth band. Like a proper Fields of the Nephilim type goth band, right?
Okay, yeah.
Hinterland of Oblivion.
Oh,
I'm having that. I'm nicking that.
yes. Hinterland of Oblivion to Winterland of despair.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I love that. Hinterland of Oblivion. Brilliant. Cracking.
That is good. That is good. So, I don't know. What do you make of this overall? I think I said I like the description, but the plot leaves me a bit... It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, I'd sort of put it somewhere in the middle of his science fiction stuff. It's not the worst and it's not the best. There's some good stuff in it. I mean, the descriptions are absolutely cracking. And I like the whole concept of it, the weird landscape and all that. It's brilliant. But once you get past that, yeah, structurally, it just feels written to order, if that makes sense, which it was, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, Smith himself wasn't keen on it. He said he said himself, didn't he, that it wasn't any great shakes.
Yeah, nothing great. It's something he did because he had to do it, and obviously he's got to get that action in, action. But even doing that, he can't resist putting his own touch on that as well. I mean, this could easily be written by someone else. You could just take that plot. There's a bit of weird stuff in it. There's a strange monster, but Smith's descriptive powers at least give it a bit of life, I think.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because Lasser, when he was asking for the revisions, he actually said, I would rather have had a little less description and more conflict with the residents of the dimension. So to bear in mind, we're going with the revised version. So I think a lot of that action was put in at the behest of the editor.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because Smith is okay at action. You know, he has his moments.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But it's not like Robert E. Howard action.
No, he's more like Lovecraft with action. Lovecraft and Smith are better at atmosphere.
Yeah.
Robert E. Howard and Robert Bloch are better at action.
Yes. You're always thinking these things, what would Conan do? You know, well, he'd cut a swathe. Yeah. I mean, he does get captured and all that kind of stuff as well. Because every hero in those days had to get knocked out at some point. No one had concussion in those days, did they?
No, no. Certainly didn't talk about CTE, did they, or anything like that? You know?
No. So I think, yeah, I agree with you. I think mid-level Smith scientific fiction.
Mm-hmm.
There's some descriptions of that I'd look at again. I don't think I want to sit down and read through the whole thing again, particularly. But there's certainly some nice passages I'd pull out of that to look at.
I'd also, for me personally, I think it could do with being about 3,000 words shorter, because this is a long one.
It is quite long, isn't it? It does feel long. Yeah, and I think Smith himself said the only redeeming feature in this for him was the element of satire.
Yeah, satire.
Kind of, it doesn't come across as much as some of his other science fiction stuff. You can see the satire more in those.
Yeah, like Volmar and all that.
Yeah. I think there are elements where all they want to do is fight the Japanese like humans. You know, they're on this really strange, amazing place, and all they want to do is shoot the other people.
Yeah,
I think that's Smith having a little dig there.
Oh yeah, well, and even a lot of the dialogue is quite comedic. I kind of wish he'd have gone more with that, because that would have made the story more for me. I think if he'd have gone almost down a full-on satire or parody of them stories, because this is kind of like a lot of the story. You've got to remember, if you read amazing stories or wonder stories, you're going to have read about 4 or 5 like this, probably in the same issue, right? Because that was a big thing at the time, you know. So if it had gone on like Spaceballs did, you know, that'd be class.
Oh dear, watched that a few weeks back. That's a great film. Spaceballs 2 is coming out soon, I believe.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is with this as well, it doesn't have to be science fiction.
No.
You could put this in 1860s and place them in, you know, continent of your choice, and you can do the same thing, can't you, really?
Yeah.
So I do feel he's having a bit of a dig at that, but he could have had a bit more of a dig, I think.
Yeah.
But still, as we say, any Smith is better than almost anyone else.
Yes, absolutely. It's still a fun story. I still enjoyed reading it, you know. It's yeah.
And I do like this idea of imposed order versus cosmic anarchy. So, yeah, and I guess even today you look at that, you've got that sort of mechanistic view of the universe, which I suppose is what we mostly grew up with through Newtonian physics and all the rest, and Fibonacci and spirals. And then you get into quantum physics where things seem a little softer around the edges. How can a wave be a particle when it's a wave? But it's a particle, that kind of stuff as well, which is way beyond that's my level of understanding.
You're going to give me a nosebleed, especially if you start talking about string theory. You know?
How long is the string theory? That's the question.
Oh, God.
So, yeah, it seems to be that dynamic in modern science of, well, that same thing, order and chaos. Which is it? Or is it a balance between the two? Or I'm sure there's people out there far more qualified to comment on that. But I do like that as an idea behind the story, I think that works very nicely.
Yeah.
Puts me a little bit in mind of Moorcock and Elric as well, of course, with his patron being Arioch, the Duke of Chaos.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Which ties, really in with your original D&D, the alignment system, lawful, good,
Yes,
good, neutral, chaotic, all that stuff.
I thought about that earlier, when we were going along with it. Yeah, I did think about that. Lawful good, chaotic neutral, and all that bobbins. Yeah.
They're interesting concepts, I think, and how people put those into a game, and then how you represent that is interesting, because lawful evil is your typical Dracula, Sauron, I suppose.
Yeah.
Lawful good is obviously your paladins and your clerics and stuff.
Chaotic evil, Nyarlathotep.
Yes.
Oh, gnarly.
Or he can be all of them.
Yes, indeed.
At the same time.
All of the above.
Yeah. And Azathoth is none of them.
Nabi Yog Sothoth is all of them.
Oh,
the one in all and all in one.
Yes,
there you go.
All in one in two. Flush them both down the loo. Yes.
Hey.
So yeah, and just the other thing, the other sort of closing thought on this perhaps is, it seems a shame that Smith's longest works are generally the scientifiction ones. Well, I suppose we have things like the Colossus of Elorn is a little bit longer, but I just feel it's a shame that he couldn't have come up with some more necromancer stories of this kind of length, because that world building is so good. I would have relished the chance to, delve into one of those.
I totally agree. And randomly, I found out what could be the reason when I was looking for something up. I haven't actually got the letter to hand. This is in Practical Eccentric Devils, the letters with August Derleth.
Right.
Because when he's talking about Gernsback and owing him money, he actually says, Gernsback must be strapped for cash at the moment because they're reducing the word count for stories. They're putting a cap. Now you can't submit anything to 10,000 words.
Ah, right. Interesting.
Now, yeah, Gernsback, if you look at like Weird Tales and stuff, their word count was always less and they paid less. Gernsback always paid more and would accept more words.
Right.
There you go. I think that's it.
He's got more chance of also getting a longer science fiction story in
Wonder Stories,
yeah,
and it's going to pay better, and they'll let him go to the novelette length of like, so I estimate this is about 12,000 words.
Right.
So $65. If it's paid, but it's like the cent of the word or whatever it is, there you go. That would explain why these science fiction stories are generally longer than the stuff that gets sold to Weird Tales.
That's interesting, because again, he could put his heart and soul into a Weird Tale story, and we know the likely outcome. It's likely going to get rejected, so he has to punt it around 3 other places. It gets printed 18 months later. He gets paid 2 years later. Yeah, it's a great shame. It's a great shame.
It is a great shame. Yeah.
Because I'll always be interested to see how Smith would have coped with a novella or a novel as well.
Yeah.
To see what he could have done with 60,000 words.
I think Colossus is technically a novella, isn't it?
Probably, yeah.
I think that was his longest work, isn't it? I think it
is, yeah.
I think that was a novella. It's like Lovecraft. His longest thing was a novella.
Well, Dexter Ward.
Charles Dexter Ward.
And Mountains of Madness, I guess, as well. Was
that was a short novella.
Right, yeah.
I think the nearest thing he did to a novel was Dexter Ward. Well, even Edgar Allan Poe. I mean, longest thing he ever did was technically a novella, Narrative of Arthur Gordon Pym of Nantucket.
Right, yeah, which I've never read, by the way. I've not read an awful lot of Poe. I mean, the standards,
It's very good. It's quite heavy going because of the prose style. But once I got into it, it took me a bit to get into it, but it's like kind of like House in the Borderlands, very similar. It's got that kind of archaic feel to it.
Right.
But once I got into Arthur Gordon Pym, it was like, oh yeah, this is class.
Marvellous. So there we are, folks. Those are our thoughts on the dimension of chance. As always, of course, we'd like to hear your thoughts and comments. Do let us know. Do get in touch. Drop us an email at innsmouthbookclub@outlook.com, or leave us a note on Patreon or the YouTube channel. And of course, you can also leave some comments on the Innsmouth forum as well. Be great to get some discussion going on there about the episodes.
Absolutely. Now, yeah, before we wrap up, would you like to hear Lovecraft's thoughts on it? Because we're into volume 2 of Dawnwood Spire, so it comes to me to read one of the magnificent return addresses.
Oh, let me just get comfortable in my seat here.
This is a letter dated the 2nd of February 1933, and the return address is, drumroll please, Memory Vortex of Zith, opening in the Bronze Gate in the unscalable basalt cliffs of Nah.
There's a nice bit of vibrato at the start of that and a marvellous ending. Well played, sir.
They're available for voiceovers. Dear Clark Ashton, I've just read your Dimension of Chance in the November Wonder Stories and must congratulate you on the tremendously vivid and ingenious way in which you have objectivized the principle of uncertainty. I am saving the tale in my file of Cleric Ashtonia. Cleric Ashtonia. Love
Brilliant,
it.
brilliant.
So yeah, not a lot he didn't say a lot about it, but there you go. But I think, how he sort of talked about the principle of uncertainty. Yeah, I think he's right. Smith did a grand job.
Yes. Yes, very nice indeed. Okay, well, that about wraps things up for today. What are we going to be doing next time, sir?
I believe next time we're going to be doing another one of our brand spanking, exciting bonus episodes for our Patreons.
You had to mention the spank. I told you not to talk about the spanking. They're not supposed to.
No, yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah, I'm not sure what we'll be covering yet, but it will likely be some poetry, or might have a delve into those new books I've got as well, which is some of the letters between Smith and Wandry and co. So we'll see if perhaps we can pull something out of that as well. Thanks again for joining us today then, folks. A huge thanks as always to our patrons for their support. If you'd like to join them and help us spread our tentacles into various dimensions, then check out our Patreon page. Of course, when you sign up as a patron, you get access to bonus content for Strange Shadows and the Innsmouth Book Club, where we are continuing our look at the fungi from Yoggoth sonnet cycle. We'll be continuing that very soon. And you get your quarterly PDF of Innsmouth News, the Halloween edition of which has just gone out, with a nice little feature on Guy N. Smith and a very interesting article on the dust jacket for the original Arkham House Outsider collection. Thanks again. We'll see you next time. With that, it's goodbye from me, Rob Whiten.
And it's goodbye from me, Tim Mendes.